Hey, what's going on? Keith here from Sports Vibes TV, and today I'm joined by NBA analyst Stephen Fox. He's always here with me co-hosting, and we're going to be talking about Donovan Mitchell, some of the news and rumors that's kind of been circulating. At this point, Foxy, I think I'm pretty lost in the sauce right now because I don't know what's going on. We hear news one day saying that the deal might be close to getting done. Then you hear Alan Hahn, he pulls up, says it seems like this thing is still going to take a few days, if not weeks. So we're going to get into it all. We're also going to talk about some of the on-court things that we could look to expect if we do make a trade. So we'll get into that. And without further ado, I'd like to give Foxy the floor. Foxy, how's everything with you?
Everything's good. Trying to keep cool in this New York area. As we know, it is brutal, folks. So trying to get that AC to work a little more. So if you see a little sweat on the brow, sorry, trying to keep it cool. But shout out to you. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the SV Nation. Shout out to the replay gang. Can't wait to talk New York Knicks basketball.
Yeah, this weather is nuts, man. We go from hail one day to this sweltering heat the next. Well, I wouldn't even say the next. It went from hail one day to like 92 degrees, 95 degrees within a matter of hours. What was it, yesterday? When it was raining
Yeah,
like crazy?
yeah, nuts. I had
Nuts.
like a few blocks from us, a tree that was split in half by a lightning strike. So yeah, the weather has been pretty crazy.
Yep. So also want to give a shout out to the chat. We've already got a great turnout. 35, well, it jumped to 42 just now. John Talento, appreciate you tuning in. Adele Chapman, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate your support. Also, we gave you your wrench. So appreciate all your support. So give a round of applause to our guy Adele for becoming a mod of the channel. We appreciate all you do, my man. All right, Jesco also in chat. Salute to Jesco. I chop it up with him on IG regularly. If you are on IG, make sure you tune into the IG for the channel at Sports Vibes TV. Anybody you want to shout out, Foxy?
Just like you said, Adele, welcome to the Wrench Gang. But you and Avery and the family, hope all is well. And John Talento and Jesco, like you said, Willie Cruz, Angel Torres, my friend Reggie Jones. We can't wait to talk Knicks and also talk with you what your thoughts and comments are. So we're gonna have a great collaborative show as always.
Back. So let's jump right into it with the Donovan Mitchell rumors. So T. Jones was on with Mark Stein on their podcast, on Mark Stein's podcast, and they were having a conversation about the potential trade of a Donovan Mitchell. Now, Jones, he works for the Athletic. He covers the Utah Jazz for them. And while they were having discussions, Mark Stein actually said he's hearing it may cost the Knicks 7 first-round picks in order to get this deal done. So, Foxy, if that is the actual asking price for a Donovan Mitchell trade, are you still in on a deal? Do you still reach out to the Jazz and say, okay, I'm willing to give up 7? Now, remember, the Knicks have up to 8 first-round picks we can include in a deal. So, would you be willing to give up 7?
No, I'd walk away. I think Donovan is spectacular. You know, he has incredible talent. He's an elite player. He's an all star. He's everything that we want. But there, you and I always talk that V word value. It's just a touch too much, man. One thing if we said that is it's 27 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds, and he's mostly a shooter. So and also on defense, some people not a good defensive but not an elite. So that's a whole lot. And also as we talked about, we have all these other holes and things that we need to do to make us a championship caliber team. If we take away those assets, are we going down the road of Melo again, or just putting everything to get one player and then the one surrounding him? We're just locked in.
Yeah, so I want to pose a question to the chat. I'll follow up on what you just said, Foxy. I want to know what the chat thinks. How many picks do you think it should take to get Donovan Mitchell? Like, what's the most amount of picks you would include in a deal? Me personally, I would agree with you, Foxy. I think 7 is way too much. I've said it here on the channel. I would be targeting anywhere from 3 to 4. And I know you might look at me and say, there's no way you're going to be able to get the deal done with only 4 first-round picks, especially when you compare it to the amount of picks the Jazz were able to get in the Rudy Gobert trade. But to me, I would say, listen, that Rudy Gobert trade was a major overpay. And right now, the Knicks, we are trying to build something, but we're not on the cusp of championship contention. So we can't go out there and overpay for that last piece that we think is going to get us over the hump. So for us to go out there and give up seven first overall picks, I think it's a major overpay. And also, we'll talk about it a little bit more in the show. That will stop us from adding other high quality or elite talent to this roster moving forward.
Yeah, it takes away our leverage. What we talked about is, we got 3 unprotected in the Charlotte trade this year, giving up our 11th and stuff like that. I have no problem giving up those type of, but don't give up next year. I don't want to lose. Like we said, we need other pieces to this team, and we give all that up, then we're going to be relegated to trying to get second round and other, journeymen to fill out this roster. And how do we compete against the elite teams in the East, et cetera, that have gotten better?
And also, Foxy, last time we were on a stream, we were talking about, what kind of value we would expect in giving up some of those first round picks. So I put it, you actually put it in a better table so you guys can see and get a better understanding of what exactly to expect from a player based on where they're picked in the draft. So the Knicks, we have 8 first round picks. 4 of those are from other teams. We've got the Washington Wizards in 2023. We've got the Mavs in 2023. We've got the Pistons in 2023. And then we've got the Milwaukee Bucks in 25. Now, I believe all of them have some sort of protections. And I think a few of them could very possibly be converted into second round picks. So if you look at this, I would probably be more focused on which picks I'm giving up as opposed to the quantity. Because if I'm giving up 4 of those protected picks from other teams, then, maybe I might give you 2 and kind of go against my rule and say I was only going to give up 4 to 5 and maybe reach a little bit and give up 6. But I still think 7 is a massive overpay. 7, I don't care how you cut it. If you're going to give up the 4 first round picks from other teams and you're going to give 3 of the Knicks first round picks, I think that's a crazy price to pay for Donovan Mitchell, even though he is an elite talent and an elite scorer in this league.
Absolutely. Folks, SV Nation and the replay gang, we wanted you to just take a look at this. And again, a shout out to Burak Ken Koch, the data analytics expert that did all the research. And, so shout out to him. But it's just showing that, where we picked this year, et cetera. And that if we're giving up those picks from Charlotte and all the ones that are going to be in the 15, it's, I'll round it the other way. It's 85 to 85%, 90%, et cetera, chance that they'll never make an all-star team. And, in the history of the NBA, only 22 players in history picked in a second round have ever made an all-star team. So that's why, people are willing to overpay to get the elite a player. Players are on the cusp or everything, but, you see like RJ, that there's, a 43% chance that he'll never make an R, and that's what we're seeing. So it's very difficult to make an R. That's why, early this year I was saying we got to get it by like 4 or 5 to get a Ben Mathurin or something like that, only because of the statistics there and even there. But anytime you're 10, 11 or 12 and down, wow, it's your greater chance you just have, you're going to get a role player. Statistically, you're going to get hopefully a good role player, but you're not going to get an all-star. And that's why I think, just to give you some insight, why the Knicks would be willing to give up these picks, because getting an all-star is like finding, that needle in a haystack. They're just very hard to come by.
Yep. So the poll is in chat. Just wanted to see what you guys think. I'm just going to hop into the chat real quick just to see what everybody thinks about the potential deal in which it would cost us 7 first round picks. So we see CAA Mafia says 4 with a pick swap, so 5 tops.
But CA Mafia, I'm just people, just let us know when you say that number. Is that number protected or unprotected? Because that's a big difference.
Very, very. Also, because look at the probabilities. Like if these were just unprotected first round picks, I would say, you're looking at the 2023 draft, I would take a shot and keep those picks and try to bring in some of these guys you're seeing entering the league in 2023 and go about it that way, as opposed to shipping those off to a team like the Utah Jazz. But if you look at the protections, I wouldn't be shocked if the only picks we have next year are going to be our pick and the Mavs pick. The rest are probably going to be kicked down the road. So you look at that, you look at this roster, and you look at the ability to bring in a guy like a Donovan Mitchell, then that's when you can start entertaining that idea of shipping those picks out. But you look, next season we're not going to have the opportunity to be a top 5 team, and we're even a top 6 in the lottery, because as you can see, top 6 teams have at least a 20% chance of getting a future all-star in the draft. And if you look at the roster after what we did this offseason, I don't think we're going to be bad enough. We're going to be a team that at worst is going to be in the late lottery. And you look at these late lottery picks, you might strike some gold. You would hope to strike some gold at 14, 15, or 13. But for the most part, it's very slim pickings to try and draft an all-star in those positions.
Yeah, like you said, we're saying the nice number. The really number is 90% chance that there'll never be an all-star. And that hits you between the eyes like, God, when are we going to ever luck out and get a homegrown all-star like that? That's why I think from a pressure perspective for RJ, we've been waiting, and we saw with whether Anthony Edwards, and you see certain players like in that year 3, like they're on the verge of being an all-star, and then you're looking at RJ and you're like, there's so many elements to his game, and yeah, he's okay, he's good and everything, but all-star and being a good player are two different things. Forget about superstar. We're just talking all-star here. So, and Donovan Mitchell is, his numbers, folks, are off the chart. He's literally in some of the greatest players in history. His first 5 seasons are unbelievable. The numbers that he's put up, only a few players, the Michael Jordans of the world, etc., have ever done anything like that. So that's why, so LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Pete Maravich, Dwayne Wade, and Oscar Robinson are the only players in history that ever scored, in their first 345 games, like Donovan Mitchell have, put up, he scored 8,234 points, 1,500 assists, 1,400 rebounds. Wow, only 5 players. So that's why there's such a tax on this. But also some of the big things that we've seen is, he's a clutch player. So that's huge. So, but the cost is it's humbling because of the other members that you said. Other teams like, all right, like Minnesota, we have Anthony, we have Russell, we have Cat. We just need we have that foundation. We have good players, but not at that level. We don't have an Anthony Edwards, man.
Yeah, we're getting there. Hopefully, after this Donovan Mitchell trade, we'll be able to be in that position where maybe we can look at it and say, okay, we can understand that we're making a slight overpay, but this move might be the piece that wins us a championship. And if you do make a slight overpay, you're not going to be worried about it if it does win you what the ultimate goal is, and that's winning an NBA championship. So I want to jump right into a Fred Katz article real quick, where he kind of talked about the Knicks and what their plans may be in the future. And one of those plans, one of those things that could be them potentially going out and trying to get a 3rd star in 2024. And that's why you have to keep an eye out on what we include in a deal for Donovan Mitchell, because if we can save 2 to 3 of those 1st round picks, we can then try to flip them and bring in another 3rd star that we can pair with a Donovan Mitchell and hopefully RJ Barrett after he takes that next step. So you can see here in the article, Fred Katz says a Mitchell package that would still leave New York with its 27 and 29 first rounders, and come 2 summers from now, when the Knicks could make their next move, they would be able to flip their 31-1 as well. 3 firsts, any of the young guns the Knicks can retain for 2 more years, and a good player or 2 like Brunson on a fair deal, Mitchell Robinson with 2 years and $27 million remaining on his deal, or Randall if he bounces back to reasonable defensive effort and efficiency, is a legitimate offer for a 2nd star. And who knows, Barrett may have made enough of a leap by then that we refer to this 2024 quest as the hunt for a 3rd star. Certainly, the Knicks are crossing their fingers that this is the case. So you really have to keep your eye out on what this trade ends up becoming, because you really don't want to close the door on us trying to bring in more pieces to pair with this young core.
Yeah. But as we were talking off air, that we don't know finally. That's why Brock Aller, they must be having all the calculators out galore, because folks, in the 23-24 next season, Brunson's making 26-3. Donovan will make 32-6 if we trade for him. Randall be making 25-6. Mitch will be making 15-6, which is $100,289,344, which means we have $23 million to stay, right at the cap. So that's RJ. But what about the rest of the team? So for them saying they want to bring in another player, just the starting five that we have will pretty much eat up our salary cap. So that Julius deal of last year, putting a lot of money into the forward position, and as we talked about, this is a wing league. That may come back to haunt us.
I mean, we would hope Julius Randle can be traded at some point this season, but I don't want just cap space for Julius Randle. I think Julius Randle is a talented player in this league, and if we do move on from him, we should get some sort of value. So hopefully, if he does end up being with us for the 2023-2024 season, hopefully he's able to rehab his image around the league. Hopefully we still have additional assets to attach to a deal, and maybe we can get another big star to come to New York. And it won't be a situation where this roster is kind of barren. It's just a whole bunch of unknowns. At that point in 2024, you would assume that RJ Barrett has taken that next step and has warranted a sizable contract that's commensurate with his production out there on the court. You already have a Donovan Mitchell. You have a young Jalen Brunson, who you would hope takes the next step as a point guard running a team. And then you have Mitchell Robinson, who we expect to get better and better. So you would hope at that point we would able to get some real value for Julius Randle and get somebody that's a bona fide stud, maybe another wing out there. Maybe it will put us in a tough place too with the Brunson and the Donovan Mitchell backcourt, because you would want to bring in another wing, I would assume, but I would want to bring in another wing to kind of shift RJ out of that 3 spot, but it's kind of hard to do now with Donovan Mitchell pegged there. So maybe you bring in a 4. You bring in another 4 to just replace Julius Randle and go about it that way.
Yeah, I think that was poetry. Yeah, I agree 100% with you. And the only other thing that could potentially happen is if we bring in that third star, RJ may be the odd man out. That they're going to say, we're not willing to pay you the max, and we're not willing. You know what? Somebody may think you're attractive. We just think that your ceiling is not the ceiling that we're looking for, but there's a player out there that we think would mesh a little better with the foundation we have. So RJ, this is a critical, if we do get Donovan, this is a critical year for RJ. No doubt, especially with Brunson and Donovan, with their skills of getting to the basket and everything. He's going to have to, he's going to be in a great position for catch and shoot this year, but he's going to have to really, really do that. If he's not shooting on all cylinders, his future, his future may not be where everybody thought it would be.
Yeah, and it's also, to me, well, I think RJ is going to be solid. I think he'll develop and become better year over year. And when you look at, you mentioned you don't know if RJ will be that third star. So you think Julius Randle would stay here and be that second star?
No, I think they're going to get rid of Julius the minute if he has a good year. I think they're realizing that, especially in today's NBA, unless you're an elite, that 1 in a million, you can't have money in the forward position like that. You're going to have somebody that's really, but you got to have all your monies in your wings and your guards, and basically try to get him out here, get us a functional, good, 4, but put our monies, into the winged positions.
Yeah, the only thing I was just saying, because you had mentioned that you didn't think RJ was going to be the second or the third star. So I thought you thought maybe Jalen Brunson might have elevated to that spot, or it would have been Julius Randle.
I think Jalen will elevate to that spot. What I love about Jalen is, bringing on a Donovan. A lot of people have said, "Oh my God, we just signed a guy, and now we're bringing in Donovan Mitchell." we had the perfect guy because he played next to Luka. So when you have a high usage guy that he was used to playing next to, Luka led the league in 37% usage. So going down to a guy down to 32 or a percent this past year for Donovan, Jalen's the perfect guy to say, I'm cool as long as the team wins and everything. So, but also, you know, I loved. Did you see that press conference is opening where they said to him, the Bill Pito said to him, "Is there any player in the league that And he paused for a second and was like, "No, man." Just me. I loved it. It was like nobody. I'm not in awe of anybody. And he has that thing like he wants to be an all-star. He wants to be most improved player this year. He wants to make an all-star team. So I think his game is going to go up. And we talked about last stream and stuff. Yeah, I could see us, a couple of years ago, Lowry and Van Vliet. Now a couple small guards that were nasty and great. We could have the same thing with Brunson and D Mitchell.
Yeah, to me that was kind of an odd question for Bill Pito to ask.
Yeah, I know it was that. There was like a silent. There was like this awkward pause, but then he, but also I don't think Pito was reading him like, "Yo, man, I'm not in awe of anybody," and that's what you want a guy to say.
Mm-hmm. Especially if he's going to step into a leadership role. You look at the roster now. Jalen Brunson is the highest paid player on this team. So if I've never been in an NBA locker room, but I hear most of the players talk about it. That pay scale definitely lays out the hierarchy in the locker room. So I'm pretty sure a lot of players are going to look to Jalen Brunson for some level of leadership. So to see him at that press conference and to have that type of poise out there in front of the New York media wasn't out there, but there's millions and millions of eyeballs watching you. So I liked a lot of his answers, and I think the better question would have been who's a player that was going to be a tough matchup night in and night out, and then he answered that perfectly with the Steph Curry response.
Yeah. But that I think he was just was trying to make it easy on. But I love that he had that dog. And we saw Mikal Bridges, a few people like, you don't know how he's a cold dude, Jalen. He's a you don't know what you're dealing with, and I love that Villanova tough. We saw humble with his parents. His relationship with Tibbs is like, I want a coach to push me, and that's a lot of similarity with RJ. RJ versus other people. He wants the great players want somebody to push him. They realize greatness takes pushing. They want somebody to always be on their back. The ones who don't tend up not to be great on the long run.
Yeah, hey, you're on that one.
Cam Reddish.
Hey, Foxy, come on.
Whoa, wait a minute. Where did that come from?
No strays here. No strays.
I don't know where that came from, folks. Holy moly, what happened there? So, whoa.
All right, so Foxy, I mentioned the poll. Let's see what the chat says. So 67% say we should trade no more than 4 to 5 first-round picks for Donovan Mitchell. We then have 19% saying that they would trade at max 2 to 3 first-round picks for a Donovan Mitchell. And then we've got a couple people that are diving into the deep end right up to George W. They said they'd be willing to give up 6 to 7 first for Donovan Mitchell. Now we can just hope and pray that it doesn't cost that much, because I really can see us trying to make additional moves and try to flip so whatever we have left over in terms of draft capital and assets, and try to bring in another star to pair with Donovan Mitchell, and you would hope RJ Barrett. And also we haven't even mentioned 2025 when the new money hits and the cap is supposed to skyrocket. And one thing that the Knicks did do a great job of, they made Jalen Brunson and they also made Mitchell Robinson's contracts descending. So we should be getting some cap relief year over year. And then we have that big jump to look forward to in 2025.
Yeah, and like you said, you would have to make moves, because if Obi was included in that trade, folks, we're at the 4 position. We have Randall, and they talk, but even if, God forbid, something happened to Randall, we have nobody at the 4 anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody.
Unless you throw Cam out there, which is a possibility.
It is a possibility, but he's not known to be a banger. Like that, somebody that's hungry for a board and stuff like that. He has the size.
More of a finesse type of guy.
He's more of a finesse type of guy. So they'd have to, go waiver wire and look around to see if we can get ourselves, free agents that we looked at. You and I were talking off the air and stuff like that, but puts them in a whole position. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this, and we just brought up Cam fooling around, but Cam's contract's coming due too.
Yep. You have to make a big decision. And if the trade doesn't free up a spot for him in the starting lineup, I can see him being moved before the season's over as well, because I don't see this team playing Cam having a good season off the bench and then re-signing with the New York Knicks. I would assume another team out there is going to see him, and try to give him that opportunity to be a starter elsewhere. So if Cam isn't included in the deal and he's not going to start, I would expect more dominoes to fall.
Exactly. And that puts us in a situation like, wow, we've been talking about you, me, and the SV Nation about needing a 6'8", 7-foot wingspan wing. Cam's gone. We have no more length at that 3 position.
Unless you want to throw Farron Hunt out there, and I don't think that's
and that's
a nice
literally throwing him
replacement.
out there.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So John Talento says he doesn't see Obi getting moved. What do you think, Foxy? You think Obi gets traded in this deal?
Hi John. I think John's onto something because of what we just mentioned. That if we keep Obi, then we have leverage. We get give away Obi, and then Randall. Even if Randall got, we don't want any player ever to get injured. But if the bad behavior comes back, let's just say that for Randall, or the turnover gets crazy on him, where he doesn't want to be subservient to saying I'm a 3 or 4 option now with Donovan and Jalen and RJ. This could blow up real quick. So keeping Obi is a great insurance policy. So Talento to the rescue.
Yeah, I was a little bit taken aback because I thought it was going to be guaranteed that Obi was going to be included in the deal. But then we heard that if the Mitchell deal goes through, the Knicks may flip Julius Randle for some cap space by trading him to LA and in a deal for Brickbrook. So that kind of made me pause because there's no way the Knicks would want to give up Julius Randle and Obi Toppin because, like we mentioned, there's nobody to play the 4. So it makes me try to think or look at other possibilities in which Obi Toppin does stay on this team. Because if we're
Froze up there, buddy.
in his hand for extended periods or at all, he's somebody that you can just put out there. He'll find open areas out there on the court for easy lobs and dunks, and he'll hustle and he'll run with Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell in transition. So I would prefer us to keep Obi as well, but I just don't see a deal getting done in which the Jazz don't want Obi Toppin. I understand the Jazz want first round draft picks, but I'm pretty sure they want talented young players to play alongside those first round draft picks. So if you don't include Obi in that deal, who are you going to add? Are you going to add Emmanuel Quickly? And if you add Emmanuel Quickly along with guys like Quentin Grimes and Evan Fournier, where do you have shooting on this team? Where are you going to get
Exactly.
backup guards from?
Exactly. Your shooting guard, your 2 is like you said, where's the shooting? We just got rid of Fournier. If he's part of that trade, we got rid of Burks. Where's the shooting going to come from, folks?
Also, just want to let you guys know we have 300 in chat. Thank you guys for tuning in and showing us some support. We only have 67 likes though, so can you guys do us a solid and see if we can't get that up closer to a little bit, to closer to 100, please? Do us a solid. We would really appreciate it if you guys can just smash that like button and get us over 100.
Yeah, and also, folks, we're 20 some odd subscribers away from 6,000. So if you have subscribed, thank you so much. Please tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. If you haven't subscribed, please, as we always talk about, we work awful hard to make this the one-stop place for all the Knicks news, rumors, and analysis. So please hit that subscribe. Please hit that all reminder bell so you don't miss out on any of the wonderful content from Sports Vibe TV. Please turn on that. Please share the link on your favorite social media platforms. And as always, shout out to the best mods on the planet. We appreciate all you do.
Thanks. Thank you for that, Foxy. So let's move ahead a little bit. And we're talking about, if we do make a trade and we trade all our guards, where are we going to get players? If we do make a trade and we trade Obi and Randall, where are we going to get players? Well, there are some free agents that are available. And even now, the Knicks, if I'm not mistaken, have 2 available roster spots, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we do a trade in which we're sending out more players than we're receiving, which I would assume is what would happen in the Donovan Mitchell trade, we could see us open up another 2 to 3 spots on this roster. So Cats put out a tweet just showing what players are still available in free agency. I'm sorry, Tommy Bear put the tweet out. My apologies. And you can see that the Colin Sexton's still available. Dennis Schroeder, Eric Bledsoe, Montrezl Harrell, LaMarcus Aldridge, to name a few. Another notable name on the list is Carmelo Anthony. We all know that James Dolan and Carmelo Anthony frequented the same restaurant and were seen leaving at different times. So that could also be a possibility, a nice little reunion there. You also see a guy like Eric Pascal. He's someone that has a relationship with Donovan Mitchell. So if a trade does go through, we can sign Pascal, who spent the last season playing alongside of Donovan Mitchell. So any other names on this list pop out to you or stick out to you, Foxy?
Well, you just said Pat. I like, he's a New York boy. He went to Fordham and then he went to Villanova. So I like all New York boys. But yeah, Josh Jackson, it's very similar to Cam, has all the prototype size and length and everything, but he's never been able to put it together. His shooting, he's in the 20s from three. He's been on multiple teams. So this, and like you said, Carmelo, my belly is telling me that Carmelo may be the one that comes here. If Obi does go, that he may be the backup to Julius, us getting Carmelo.
Yeah, we did prepare a nice little slide if that were the case. You can see the starters would be Jalen, Donovan Mitchell, RJ, Julius Randle, and Mitch. And then backing them up, you'd have Derrick Rose off the bench with IQ, Cam, Melo, and iHeart. And then you would have your third stringers as Deuce, Keels, Ferron, and Sims. Now this, I'm not pro Melo in terms of bringing him back, but if we do make a deal and there is a spot available for him, I would not be against the move. Melo can knock down the three. He's gotten better at it as his career has progressed. He's still someone that can get you a bucket when you need it, and he's shown the willingness to take a smaller role on a team. I think that was the big issue with Melo a few years ago. A lot of teams weren't sure that Melo was willing to take a more reduced role. That's a shift a lot of stars find issue or have issues with. That's why you see a lot of them just retire. But with Melo, we've seen instances where he can come off the bench and still be a weapon. So I'd be open to bringing Melo back off the bench if that was an option.
Yeah, me too. Mid-level exception or something. It comes back to value again if we can get a guy. And like you said, he's like a
mid-level exception is kind of rich.
Yeah,
veteran
that's true.
Minimum.
Veteran minimum. I like the way you think. That's even better. But he's a shooter, man, and he can still light it up. And if you have a guy like D Rose that's penetrating and stuff like that and kicking him out for open catch and shoots, Melo's a killer, man. Still at this age.
Yeah, so let me pose a chat to SB Nation. Who would you prefer the Knicks target following a spider trade? Whether you guys would want Mitch, would you guys want Melo or Pascal? We'll drop that in chat. What about you, Foxy? Who would you prefer?
Obi to stay here.
I should have put that. See, none of the above. Keep our guys.
Yeah. Well, Eric, people don't realize just 3 years ago, he was all rookie team with Golden State. So he showed that talent 3 years ago to be all rookie. I think that was the year that RJ didn't make the all rookie team. So, he played in a good system over there, and maybe that's a good match for us. He's, this year, he was Ed Liddell before Ed Liddell. He's a 6'6", smallish size power forward, but he has a 7-foot plus wingspan. So he makes up for it like that. And he shot 37% from three. He's gotten better from three every year.
Every single year. That jumped out to me too.
Yep. So he may be somebody that is, played in a winning or is around a winning organization and would fit in well.
Foxy, got a pretty good comment here from Links Black. It says the 2023, 2024, and 2025 drafts coming up will be stacked with generational talent. This trade will be one of the worst moves the Knicks could ever make. Well, we would still keep our pick in the 2024 draft, so that wouldn't be an issue. And Foxy, I guess you would have a little bit more information or a little more background information on those two drafts. But for 2023, I am a little bit disappointed that the Knicks are looking to move on from the two first round picks that we have in this upcoming draft. Me personally, I would have tried to continue to build through the draft as opposed to trying to trade them for Donovan Mitchell. But even though I'm not 100%, or this is not what I would do if I was running the Knicks, I can still see the value in bringing in a guy like Donovan Mitchell. So it's not something I would do per se, but you can understand where the front office is going, and you just have to allow them to make their moves and see how it works out. But there are going to be a boatload of great players in this upcoming draft, and I just would have liked if we would have been a part of it, even though it's not 100% sure we won't be a part. But it seems like that's the way it's trending.
Yeah, hi Links. I think the big issue is what we open the show with is the stats, that they may be stacked, but the numbers don't lie. That unless we get in the top five, then we're and the problem is we don't have a terrible team. So we're in purgatory. We're going to be picking in the numbers that are saying the guys that we would select in those stacked 23, 24, 25 drafts. Links are going to be role players. 90% chance they're going to be role players, and that we're not going to be bad enough. And we experienced this past year how difficult it is to get a Jaden Ivey or a Ben Mathurin. If you're picking 11, and especially like you said, who wants to give up a generational talent, even if they're going to get a haul? So, every year I've seen it, but like I said, the numbers don't lie from the beginning of NBA basketball, and that it's only generational talent if you're in the 5 or lower. And I just don't think we'll be there or can get up to there.
And I like the fact that you brought up Ivy, because we were talking, before the show about what would we have done in a similar situation. Would we have coughed up the 3 to 4 first round picks it would have taken to get a Jaden Ivey, or would we have coughed up the 3 to 4 picks that I think it'll cost for Donovan Mitchell, and also include some of our young core? So which route would you have pursued, Foxy?
Meaning, hey folks, it's potential. From business. Somebody told me a long time ago in business, the word potential means you haven't done a damn thing. So I would go with Donovan. He's a proven player that if I'm going to be giving up assets, I want to give it up for a guy who's a known all-star, not Hail Mary full of grace. I hope this person, and then getting back to the thing, I hope, like we said, that there is a 53% or whatever chance that if you're picked third, that you're not an all-star. And we were experiencing that with RJ, that if you got somebody who's an absolute all-star like in Donovan, go with the proven product, man. You just don't know what's going to happen when they get to the NBA. And also what we talked about, this is New York. Whether you're a Knicks fan, a Yankees fan, or anything, we've seen guys come here who just wilt under the pressure of New York. Donovan is not built like that. Donovan, you look at his numbers in the playoffs and everything else, he's a beast. He's an absolute beast. He's the perfect person to take the pressure of a New York pressure cooker, and so is Brunson. So that's why those were, if we do get Donovan, you got to have somebody. Links, getting back to your thing, they may be generational, but they may not be able to play in New York, man. You just never know.
Facts. We got dogs in the backcourt now. That's definitely one thing you can say heading into each matchup, night in and night out, that the guards on the other side of the court aren't going to have more heart than Jalen Brunson or Donovan Mitchell. And I think Brunson, he hit that on that nail on the head during his press conference when he was added to the team.
But also, whether Kyle Korver, you and I, the players, players, they have egos and stuff, but they're really easy to say, Donovan is special, man. I mean, he's one of the most special players I've ever been around. He's a true all-star. He's a superstar in their eyes. So when players say that out of a 1 to 5 rating, he's a 10 in terms of a quality person, that he's not only a great player, but he's an even better person. When we saw Jalen Brunson, class act, top notch, when you saw him talking, I don't mind building a team around dudes like that.
And that's one thing I've noticed. Those two guys, we bring them in. There's plenty of players that have said a lot of positive things about them. One thing circulating has been Kyle Korver talking about Donovan Mitchell after he missed a shot. I believe it was in the playoffs. And, you see Kyle Korver standing up for him and, understanding that it was a difficult situation, but he knows that Donovan Mitchell will rebound and is a great leader. Even, I believe that was during Mitchell's rookie season.
It was during his
If I'm
rookies.
not
Yep.
mistaken. So for Kyle Korver, a seasoned vet like that, to respond in that way to a rookie, I think definitely shows how impactful Donovan Mitchell is in a locker room. Also, you look at Jalen Brunson, there's guys like Mikal Bridges that have, spoke his praise about how he's a dog out there, he's a baller. So, looking at how fans or what fans expect from this team, we expect 100% effort, and those are two guys that I think are going to give that to us night in and night out. So to invest in those guys, I'm for it. I want to see how it looks out there on the court. We'll talk about that in a bit as well. But that's the only thing that we would be left to be seen, is how those guys would operate out there on the court together, in addition to RJ Barrett and Julius Randle.
I think they're going to operate magnificent. Donovan Mitchell was second in the league in pick and roll. He's unbelievable as the pick and roll ball handler. He only plays second behind Trae Young. 12.4 points a game. And he ranked higher than Luka. He ranked higher than John Morant. So with the guys on this team and stuff like that, if we get Donovan, we're immediately elevated. We have Mitch there, and it's just like we said, if Julius can play within himself, and some of the things maybe we'll touch on, the roles of Julius and RJ will change dramatically with the addition of Donovan Mitchell. And are they willing to be a true team player and give up personal stats for the benefit of the team?
Facts. Also, we got a super chat from Miguel P. Thank you for the support. He says the Mitchell opportunity came one season too early. Probably. But then again, even if we do make a draft pick in 2023 and this happens next season, I think the Jazz are just going to want us to throw in whoever we picked in 2023, especially if it's a position of need for the Jazz, in addition to multiple first-round picks. So I think regardless of where this would have landed, we would have coughed up a whole lot. Only thing is, maybe there would have been some deals in between that Gobert deal that we can kind of use as a reference or as a comparison. All right. Also, I think we just hit a channel milestone. I think we have 404 in chat. Oh, it was at 400 for a second, so we're running with it. So we cracked the 400 mark. Now it's hovering at 388, but hopefully we'll get there again before we log off. And we've got 131 likes, so we got a new target. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see if we can get us to 150 likes. Do us that solid, see if we can get there. We appreciate all your support on this warm Friday evening. Thank you guys for tuning in. Foxy, thank you for co-hosting with me as well.
And keep those questions coming. We love your questions and your thoughts.
Let's see what else we have going on. JJ47K says Knicks will be mid because of addition by subtraction. Losing Obi, Quick, and Grimes is all bad. Yes, it's bad, but I think the things that we get from Obi, Quick, and Grimes can be replaced. I think you can go out there on the market and find other players that can give you similar production. I think it's a lot more difficult to go out there on the open market and find someone that can do what a Donovan Mitchell can do out there on the court. So that would be the only place I would disagree. I believe Obi, Quick, and Grimes are all major contributors to this team and, are great players, but it's just, you can't compare it to what Donovan Mitchell has done and what you expect him to do in future years.
And we have him locked up for a few years. Next season, folks, he'll be the 35th highest paid player in the NBA. So have a player of that caliber locked in for the next few years at that salary, that's value. That's really value.
Also, we have a super chat, Tom from Huntington. Thank you. We greatly appreciate your support. He says, salute, gentlemen. Great show. Cam, Grimes, Evan, and 5 picks, 3 unprotected. Hopefully gets it done. Then move Randle when possible. You know me, I'm a big fan of Cam. So if that's what it takes to get the deal done, then, that's what it is. Donovan Mitchell, like I just said, Cam has not shown the ability to do what Donovan Mitchell has done. I think Cam could, go out there and be an elite scorer like that, but he hasn't shown enough for me to say he's going to be a hiccup in a deal. So, I okay that deal reluctantly. But
Yeah.
me personally, I'd have preferred Grimes, Evan, and Obi.
I like it. Tom, how are you? Hope all is well with you and your family. I think it's great only because it comes back to what we were saying. We're not going to have money to sign Cam long term.
Mm-hmm.
So let's, if somebody sees value in him. So if we have, we just said that between Brunson's contract, Donovan's contract, Mitch's contract, Randall's contract, we need that money for RJ. And if we get the money for RJ, it ain't going to be money for Cam the way Cam wants that money. So let's ship out Cam because we're not going to be able to pay him. Grimes, like Key said, we can get somebody to do Grimes. Evan, we're going to miss his shooting. We won't miss his defense, but we'll miss his shooting. Those 5 picks.
Teams will miss his defense, that's for sure.
You got
Ate
that
him
right.
alive.
Yo, yeah, because he's always saying you get the license plate of that try. I don't know, man. So and 3, yeah. So Tom, if we can do that, yeah, I'd go for that all day long, man.
Also, I saw a pretty good comment I wanted to touch on. Okay, here we go. This one is from JNS. Says, sorry, but this is the Melo trade all over again. Me personally, I think there's a major difference between this and the Melo trade. I think with the Melo trade, we gave up a lot of pieces, but to me, it wasn't the fact that we gave up a lot of players and a lot of depth. Yes, that was one of the issues I had, but my major issue is we didn't have to do it. Melo was going to be a free agent that offseason. This is completely different in the fact that if we don't make the deal, Mitch is not going to be somebody that we can sign for cap space for another, 3 or 4 seasons. So to me, that's the major differentiator between the Melo deal and the Donovan Mitchell deal. I was against the Melo deal because I thought it was just Melo forcing his hand to get to New York because of the uncertainty of the new CBA. I think that's what that was all about. The fact that he didn't know if he was going to be able to get the same amount of money, so he wanted to sign his contract ASAP. So that's the big difference. If we don't make this trade for Donovan Mitchell, there's no guarantee we'll be able to get another player of his caliber, and there's no guarantee that there'll be a player that's available that kind of fits the timeline of the guys on our team right now. So that's why I'd be open to this deal, and I wouldn't look at it as similar to the Melo trade.
Yeah, I'm with you, Keith. No offense intended, JNS, but if you have this trade goes down and you have the starting lineup of Brunson, Donovan, RJ, Randall, and Mitch, that's a serious starting lineup. We didn't have that with the Melo when he came, where he had he had Stoudemire and that was about it left.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They pretty much shipped everybody out of town and thought that those two would be able to get it done. Especially when you look at Amari and his injury history, you should have known that would have been too risky. Just should have had a little bit more patience. And if Melo wanted to go to Brooklyn, God bless him. You see what's going on over there with KD and Kyrie. That's not the place to be. I'll tell you that right now.
Hey, by the way, where is the place to be?
Sports Vibes TV. You already know.
Yeah, that's my guy. But folks, some other the stuff like we said, why Donovan, you have to pay a tax. And the most play of 30-point plus games, 5 plus 3 pointers of the last 3 postseasons. Donovan Mitchell 9, Stephen Curry 8, Luka 8, Dame 6, Harden 4, Booker 4. So the company that he's the most total playoff games with 30 points and 5 assists since 2020. Luka at 14, Donovan at 13, Giannis at 13. So folks, everything he does is at this elite level, man. So in meaning playoffs when it counts. So that's what you want, a player that turns it up. We don't want a Dave Winfield that doesn't do it and when the playoffs come, but he has great season stats. This is a guy that lives up to, when it counts. And like I said, don't forget about Brunson. And the other thing, folks, looking at last season and stuff, we didn't have closers. Now we don't have one closer. We have 2 closers and takes the pressure off RJ and Randall. And the thing I love also, with Brunson, the type, sometimes if Donovan wasn't here, a player that comes in like that tries to do too much. We saw that with Julius, and we were saying, Julius, play within yourself. You're trying to take a team on your back. That's not who you are. So everybody, we just want them to be themselves. And I think Brunson would be that stabilizing guy, and Donovan would be the damn assassin. He'd be a killer.
Let's see what else we got going on here. Oh, believe we had a super chat. Yeah, Adele Chapman. Thank you for the support, bro. Also, we gave you the wrench. Hope you appreciate it. You definitely earned it. Says, what would Lamelo's trade value be? I think that's kind of difficult to judge because one, I don't think Melo would be on the trade block. But if I had to come up with a suggestion, I think it would be in between what you saw DeJounte Murray get traded for and what you hear being rumored for a Donovan Mitchell. It probably falls somewhere in between those two deals. What about you, Foxy?
I think whoever would trade for LaMelo would get a great player, but they better have a closet full of Xanax because I'm telling you, he sees the floor at another level. God, he's so God gifted, but he has issues from discipline standpoint. You know, you saw him arguing with his coach, doing some other things, some players. You know, there's some attitude issues there. We saw Brunson. He's not going to be a professional like that. And, we talk about culture and stuff like that. You really want to look at culture, guys that are going to add to culture and not be a distraction. We learned last year from Julius, we don't want that ever again. So Jalen and Donovan are nothing like that. They're just class acts. LaMelo is God-given talent, but he's a headache ready to happen.
Yeah, on that one, Foxy. So, Foxy, let's talk about what to expect from this team if we do make the Donovan Mitchell trade. And, people have said there's only one basketball. So, who is going to be the one who's going to see a little bit of a reduction in the usage next season? I mean, you see, if we take everybody's usage rate from 2021, you're going to see that it's going to total 122.5%. And that's not going to happen. So, we made some adjustments over on the right-hand side. You see that there's going to be a reduction both in RJ and in Julius's touches. And I think that's going to be for the betterment of the team. You look at Donovan, his usage isn't going to be changed by much, we would assume. But I would probably say even in the regular season, you can dip Donovan's usage a little bit more. That way you can have him fresher come playoff time so we can give teams hell. So, Foxy, what do you think about this team and what we're going to look like on the court and how Tibbs is going to find a way to get everybody the amount of touches that they want so that we don't have any malcontents next season?
Well, you want Jalen to do what we brought him here to do. And the beauty again is that 21.9 is playing with Luka. So there's a whole lot of correlation to playing with a high usage guy. So I'm keeping him at 22. Luka, like I said, was 37 to lead the league. So Donovan's a little less than that. And I also use the model for Dallas. If you look at their wings, Finney Smith, and you looked at Bullock and a few others, they're around 13, 14%. So they're, like you said, so this is ballpark, 17, 18%, and Donovan 30, 30 to 33, etc. But the key issue is that we want Donovan to be Donovan and Jalen to be Jalen, and RJ and Julius and Mitch, basically his touches are all putbacks. He's going to remain constant. He's not really going to be that. So RJ and Julius, you're saying they're the ones that they're going to have to sacrifice for the betterment of the team. And so we're saying less touches, but we need them to be more efficient. So with a guy like Jalen, getting them the ball in their spots, because both of them are wonderful at getting to the hole, having defenses collapse and then kicking it out, that RJ and Julius could have a more, they'll have less difficult shots, more open catch and shoots. So it'll be a culture shock for them going for that. And people are saying, hey, what about RJ's development? RJ's development it will be impacted, but it also could be impacted positively. If RJ becomes a more efficient player, that's a positive development, and being around better players, that's a positive development. Julius is the reality that we paid a guy high who on a bad team was a one option. You bring in two players now, he's going to where he should have been in the first place, a 3 or 4 option, and a 3 or 4 option in the NBA is around the 17 or so % of usage. So I think this is what the reality would be. So obviously Jalen, Donovan, and Mitch, wouldn't be impacted. But we would really see RJ, I think, is a class act. I love the kid. Julius is the key thing, whether or not that would be the trigger for him to go off again. That, damn it, I'm better than this. Why aren't I getting the ball? Because we got Donovan, Jalen, and RJ now. So I think those are really, really the key issues. And hopefully Julius, his management behind him and everything is saying, yo, I know you got a contract, but if you want a contract after this contract, you can't pull that crap that you did last year. Winning is better than anything. Just play along, do what they say, and just be a good teammate. So hopefully that'll happen. But as you saw on the left, we can't have 122%. So RJ and
Mhm.
Julius folks are the ones that are going to be taking the brunt of the sacrifice.
And we talked last stream that we asked who was going to be the X factor for this season. And this slide right here is going to show you why I thought it was going to be Julius, or you thought as well why we thought it was going to be Julius Randle, because we have to see how Julius Randle was going to respond, seeing his usage rate be slashed this much. So is he going to explode? Is he going to be one of those people that are going to be demonstrative when he sees that he's not getting his touches? He's not going to be averaging the 20 and 10 that we expect from him season after season. He might still get the rebounds, but I think the points might definitely take a dip. Or is he going to look at it and say, okay, this, I might not be getting the same gaudy stats that I was getting when I was running the show, but life is a lot easier. Life is a lot easier when you have a guy like Jalen Brunson that's getting you the ball, 10 feet from the basket, as opposed to you trying to bring the ball up and attack 25 to 20, 24 to 25 feet from the basket. And if he's a little bit more efficient, that means more shots are going to be going down as opposed to bricking. And maybe that might get his mind right, get him on the right state of mind, as opposed to what we saw last season, where he felt like he was almost lashing out at everybody, whether it be fans, whether it be teammates. I think the only person he didn't lash out at was Tibbs for the most part. That was the guy that was holding him down. So I want to see exactly what Tibbs is going to do, creatively out there on offense, for this squad, because we have a lot of weapons, but it's going to be up to Tibbs now to put those guys in the right position in order for them to maximize their time out there on the court. So it's going to be a big season for Tibbs. It's going to be a big season for Julius Randle, because if things go south, this very well could be the last season in New York for both.
I'm with you. And also, Julius, I'm all about body language. I really study body language. There's coaching clinics and stuff on, the best coaches in college basketball talk about body language. And when I studied Julius over the last couple of years, and I'm sure you and the SV Nation feel the same, when there was 5 seconds left in a game and Randall was at the foul line, he had fear in those eyes.
Mm-hmm.
If
You
you
know, like LeBron in his early years.
I'm telling you. And you won't see that with Donovan. You won't see that with Jalen. So maybe that burden of him in the back of his head with 4 minutes to go, like, oh shit, I hope this game doesn't come down to the wire, and I got to
Mm-hmm.
drop either at the foul line or do the winning shot or go for the winning shot. That all I have to do is set a great screen, put myself in a position, to make sure that I'm setting up the people the right way, and let those guys, take us to the home, take us to the championship or something, take us, make us
line.
win, take us to the finish line. Thank you. But take that pressure off Julius and also take that pressure off RJ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we want RJ to be a little bit more relaxed, because there's already going to be a lot of pressure on him. We're talking
Contract.
about him potentially signing, for life-changing money. And not to say that we should be worried about pressure and RJ, but you don't want to put too much on a young kid so early into his career, especially earlier on in the season where he might be pressing. We've seen year after year that RJ kind of gets off to some slow starts. So we don't want him to, get up to a slow start maybe and then start to press and try to force the issue. I think if you have a team with Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell, those are guys that are going to be able to help get a guy like RJ Barrett through tough stretches, both on and off the court. We've seen that both of these guys look like they're great teammates. So that's something you definitely want to add to your team. And, those guys are going to be viewed as the leaders of this squad. So hopefully, their addition to this team is going to have massive positive effects on RJ Barrett and his growth moving forward, because, he's the only one out of the top 4 right now that hasn't gotten that max deal. And, for me, you get a max deal, you're a franchise player. And if RJ Barrett doesn't get that offer of a max deal, then that would just say that the front office doesn't really view him as a franchise player. So once again, a very important season for RJ. Even though I feel like we've been saying that every single season for RJ. Rookie year was very important. Year 2, year 3, and now once again here in year 4. So hopefully he goes out there and he takes that next step. Because if he's able to take that next step, we talked about Julius Randle being an X factor. RJ Barrett was a close number 2. Because if he's able to take that next step, we mentioned earlier on in the show, we can go out there and try to bring in a third star that can fit below, Donovan Mitchell and RJ Barrett in the hierarchy, or even be above, Donovan and RJ. But as long as RJ is viewed as that third star, I think this team's going to be extremely dangerous and will be a championship contender.
Yeah, when you have a player like Donovan in a 4 out of 7 series, he frightens the hell out of you, because if he just gets, as we said, he's performed every year. Hey, folks, he has a 623 winning percentage. They've made the playoffs every year, Utah, that he's come into the league. This guy's about winning, man. And so, Keith, I love what you just said about, RJ, that on, and what you said about off the court, that you could see their styles about, hey, man, we believe in you. Calm down, or we'll get you the ball. All we're going to ask you to do what you need to do. And you have to deliver. So, and I think there's going to be a big catch and shoot year for RJ, because those guys penetrate. And I think he's going to have a lot of open shots, and I think he's going to be able to nail them. And
we've seen him get better and better year after year with the knocking down open shots.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's finishing at the rim where we need to see him take some major steps. Year 3, we were okay with. I think at least I was okay with what I saw from him knocking down, catch and shoot threes and things like that.
But I also think with Jalen, with his IQ, about, people don't realize with great point guards and stuff, the spacing that they create by the way they move on a floor. And with Donovan, that I think they're going to make life easier for RJ to do what RJ does great. They won't be, hanging out and saying, man, I wanted to drive down that lane, but you're just hanging out there, where they read the floor in a different level, that RJ is going to be able to do what RJ does.
Here you on that one. So, Foxy, before we wrap up, before we go, just want to give a quick rundown as to where we are right now with the Donovan Mitchell trade rumors, or as we call it, Spider Watch. No. Should get a theme song for it. So this was dropped a couple days ago. This is from Utah Sports Radio host, I forget, but it's PK Kinahan. He says, I'm hesitant to say this, but I've been receiving texts as we speak that the Donovan Mitchell deal is done, working out some final details to have it be announced here shortly, and it's a haul. Now, once again, I don't believe he's a Utah Jazz insider. I think this might be similar to when we kind of got spoofed when Carlin said that Julius Randle was going to be traded in the offseason. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I think this might be a similar situation, because it followed up by Alan Hahn. He dropped a Facebook posting. A lot of rumors swirling today amid Donovan Mitchell's tweeting, man, God is good this morning. I heard he was at a basketball camp in White Plains. There is nothing more than just rumors and speculation right now. Brian Windhorst this morning on ESPN said that from what he knows, it's likely going to take a while. So it looks like we're still in a position of wait and see. And they're playing with our emotions, man. They got me anxious as hell right now. I just want this to get resolved so we know what our team is going to look like moving forward.
Yeah, you, me, and the SV Nation, but I think it's just Danny Ainge playing with a longtime agent. They're playing chicken, looking at each other, who's the one that's going to hold out. And, and I think they've shown that they're disciplined. I think they'll walk away from the table if they think that, that he's just trying to fleece them. I think they don't mind paying a tax, but I don't think they're going to get crazy either.
Yeah, it remains to be seen, because if they go out there and give up 7 picks, I think they're going to be slammed for giving up way too much.
Rightly so. You can't give up that.
Mm-hmm. I just don't understand why the Timberwolves have to go and throw the market off.
Everyone, yeah.
Even the reports are saying that owners are upset that they went and did something like that.
Oh, absolutely. As our good friend Ron Cleveland said, that was front office malpractice to a degree that I've never, when I heard it, was like, let me read this a second time. There's just no way somebody's going to be giving that up for Gobert. They did. Are you kidding me? And then we see, in its wake, the impact it has across the league, every other trade. And you're like, nah, man, I can't take anything less than 5, because that's what I got for Gobert, 5 first. And it's like, Jesus, come on.
And now KD's even stuck in Brooklyn because of it.
Yep.
That's gonna be interesting to see where he ends up.
I know Miami wants him bad.
Him going to Miami would benefit us, I believe, right? Because now it takes Miami out of the running, and it should allow us to lower the price some. Because
Yeah,
I think
it takes
somebody
us out of
mentioned
the
it in chat.
running. Yeah, but also when the season, if he does go there, it's like saying, what team do we have to compete against that? And that's where, like I said, hey folks, I really believe that like I just said, a Brunson, Donovan, RJ, Randall, Mitch front line, starting, that's a serious, that's a very good starting lineup, man.
And it's young. So even if you have a juggernaut like Miami, you can kind of wait them out and still be, competitive, still get your guys some solid playoff experience. And hopefully that's something that they can build upon when it comes time to usurp whoever is, has the Eastern Conference or the NBA in a stranglehold.
Yeah, and as we did in the last stream, Keith and I, we talked about Memphis. Yo, man, if we have that dog mentality and that the team, they're like saying, hey, whether it's what we just touched on, RJ or Randall, I'll give up some touches for the betterment of the team and everything else. But it all starts with defense. Let's dive for loose balls. Let's set good picks. Let's box out. Let's not take a good shot. Let's take the best shot. Let's put it around the horn. Yeah, we can go very, very far. And like I said, when you have a player like Donovan, that's frightening in a series like, oh my God, that guy could go off for 40 every night.
Mm-hmm. We got a super chat from Miguel P. Another one. Thank you for your support. He says, hope a third team gets in with their own picks. See, now I get a little bit nervous when you start seeing the involvement of a third team because I think the reports are complexity and also that the fact that the Jazz don't want RJ Barrett doesn't mean other teams around the league don't want RJ Barrett and aren't willing to give him an extension. So if you add a third team, they may want an RJ Barrett in order to give the Utah Jazz a type of pick compensation they would require in a 3-team deal. So me, I get a little bit nervous when you hear about a third team being involved in the deal because at least I know from what the reports are that the Jazz really don't have a lot of interest in and giving RJ a deal. And they're slandering RJ too. Did you see what the reports are? They don't want to be the team known for giving RJ that massive extension. I'm like, what's going on here?
But you and I were talking about that. It's like this has gone on for a couple of years, not making the All-Star team, not being viewed as one of the best players under 21. We love New York Knicks, and we're homers to some extent. But when you see around the league, everybody is viewing his talents not as at an all-star level. They're saying he's a good player, but he's not a great player, and we don't see him being a great player. You have to take that you have to digest that, folks. As much as we love RJ, if all the talent evaluators are saying we don't want to give him a max contract, it says a lot.
Yeah. Also, I just want to give you guys.
But I have a question for the things next year. What would the SV Nation feel if we gave up RJ, but we got Andrew Wiggins instead to be our new 3? So our lineup would be Brunson, Donovan, Andrew Wiggins. It's still going to be Randall and unfortunately, and Mitch. But like you said, he made second team All NBA. He has elite talent, Randall. If that could be harnessed in some way, I think everybody in New York would forget last season real quick. If he plays, it was the 18th, as crazy as it sounds, and you and I are like, get the hell out of here. Not with my eyesight. Statistically, he was the 18th best defender last year on defensive rating in the league. Randall.
Yeah, but I throw some of those numbers out the window.
No, I know, but meaning if the effort is there, and hopefully, he wants to resurrect his image and everything else. Hopefully, he puts it all together this year, and it starts with team. Everything about the team.
Yeah, and there is an I somewhere in his name. What is it, in the Julius part? All right, so it's just to speak on the poll. We closed it, and it looks like the majority would rather trade the 3 to 4 first in youth for Spider. That came in at 66%, and then trading for Ivy came in at 33%. And of course, that 1% is up in the air. YouTube refuses to let us know where that 1% is. They're unaccounted for.
Probably in Brooklyn. because my Uncle Vito and a few friends are unaccounted for in Brooklyn somewhere.
It's funny. I've been watching mob documentaries all day too. All right, let's see. Jesco says, Keith Fox, do you really think Donovan will come to the Knicks or not? I'm starting to feel like he will not come. That's a good question, Jesco. I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire. I feel like a lot of people's reputations are kind of on the line now with the news and the rumors that's been coming out. And you see what the reporters are already writing about the front office and the regime, that the pressure's on Leon Rose to get this deal done. And somebody had mentioned, why are we still trying to negotiate with the Jazz when it doesn't seem like there's anybody else bidding for Donovan Mitchell's services? And I would say that's the reason. There's a lot of pressure on this front office, I believe, to get this job done and to turn this thing around. You look at James Dolan, you look at what he did with the Rangers and how he was quick to clear front office and the coaching staff. And now look where that took them. That took them to what? The Eastern Conference Finals, if I'm not mistaken. So James Dolan, he has something that he can look at and says, all right, I have the precedent. I've seen that I can clear house, bring in somebody else, and they can get us, back on the right track. So this front office, they're going to want to make a splash. They're not going to want to miss the playoffs 2 seasons in a row, because you look at James Dolan and how his temperament may be, that could be grounds for termination, especially with how dysfunctional the team looked last season.
Yeah, and all of us have deja vu of a few years ago saying, "Hey, man, we're getting Kyrie and KD here. We got the cap space. We're going to get those guys." Oh, we didn't get them? So we don't want to have that. Oh, we're getting Donovan. We're getting Oh, we're not going to get Donovan now. So, and obviously, the slide we just went off, RJ and Randall will probably pop a bottle of champagne, but but all the fans. We desperately need, like we said, we need a closer. We need, we need that guy with the it factor that could take us on a back, and that's what playoffs are. That we haven't had somebody who could say, "Hey, fellas, I got you, man. I'm going to do it." And, they wanted to, they just don't have the talent. Donovan has the talent and that athleticism. You and I have talked about, athleticism means so much. It allows you to get to your spot and do so many things. And that athleticism that he has, like you said, he's 25, man. We have, 3 more years of a great contract. He'd be very, very, very good. And what we started the show with, giving up all those picks, it sounds, oh my God. But the chances of us getting a Donovan level player, it's hard. It's very hard.
Extremely hard. I mean, we've been trying for years and have been unsuccessful, and we've been skipping over the players that have been that elite talent and picking guys like Kevin Knox. But Foxy, guess what?
What?
We just eclipsed the 500 threshold in chat.
Yo, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate all your support. Like we said, thank you for all, if you have subscribed, thank you so much. Please tell a friend. We're folks, less than 20 people away from 6,000, 20 subscribers away from 6,000 subscribers. We're a blink away from 1.2 million views. Mm-hmm. So it's all because of you. Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate all the support, especially seeing that, over the last month or so, kind of dialed it down a little bit because, I've been swamped with work and things like that. So for you guys to still be supporting and showing up in droves, for us to be, hitting records at this point where it's kind of like a downtime supposedly in the off season, I think that really means a lot for how much you guys, like the content that we're putting out here on Sports Vibes TV. So I want to say thank you guys. We appreciate all the support, and we're here to, continue to talk Knicks with you guys throughout the off season.
Yeah, just real quick, just shout out to some friends I saw pull up. Ronald Miller, great eye. Lady G, Geraldine MacGyver. We love you, Geraldine. I see CAA Mafia. I saw Illmatics earlier. Shaw Powers. Knicks 100 a game. Knicks Nation 112. Mark J. L. Paul. Warren Franklin. Yo, Charlie Ward's cousin. I love Charlie Ward's cousin,
salute.
Man. Yeah, good guy, man. Good guy. Love his takes. The New York Bully. Just so many of you. Paul Butler, Salvador Bartolomo, If I hurt that, my intentions were honorable. I messed up pronouncing that name. But like I said, Ace of Spade, all of you, thank you so much for all your support. And again, let us know your thoughts, your comments. We just love that, this show is part, you're the third host of this show.
Yep. Thank you guys for all you do.
Hey, one last one. Parrish Duggar, man.
Hey,
Duggar. I don't want to. Parrish has been a good friend for a long, long time.
Facts. He's been in the chat since, pretty much close to day one. So I appreciate all of your support, Paris. Also,
and Bodega Wi-Fi. I can't wait, but I see them come in and it's like I don't want to miss my pals.
Yeah, definitely. We've never had this many in chat, so it's kind of moving a little bit quicker than we're used to. So thank you guys for your patience before it takes us a long time to get to you.
I got one other, my friend from Australia, South Gooner 86. Thank you from Australia. We appreciate all around the world, all of our friends. Also, so I hope all is well with you and your family. Also, Keith and I have talked about truckers love us. A lot of truckers listen to our broadcast or our podcast while they're going across the country, helping the supply chain issues that we have. So shout out to the truckers. Shout out to the vets. We love the vets.
Facts. Appreciate you all. Also, want to get into this comment by Jesco. It says, if Spider comes, we went from a Peyton Bullock backcourt to a Brunson Spider backcourt. Leon Rose is making our dreams come true. It's definitely a massive upgrade, even if you compare to what we had last year. When you look at Kimba and Evan, people complain about the defensive liabilities that'll be there with a Brunson and a Spider backcourt. But compare it to what we had in Kimba and Evan Fournier, you would definitely say that's going to be an upgrade.
Forget about it. This is top notch.
Yeah. Compared to them,
compared to anyone, that's the beauty of it. Those two guys.
I wouldn't go that far compared to anybody, but definitely compared to Evan and Kimba. Well, I think there are going to be some issues defensively, so that's why I wouldn't say against anyone. But if you want to look at what we had to deal with over the last 2 years, at who was running out, who was in the backcourt, this one is definitely a much more star-studded and I think a more effective backcourt tandem than we've seen in years.
I'll miss Peyton's 3-point shooting, but other than that, yeah.
Well, you mean the fact that he knew he wasn't going to make it, so he didn't take it?
No, that I always had bets on, is he going to hit the side of the backboard on this one? I knew the ball wasn't going to go in. It was just where the ball was going to go. It was where all the bets were going, man. And it always bothered me because Peyton was elite, folks, at getting to the rim. He was like, a couple of years ago, he was second in the league behind Zion in getting to the rim, but finishing was a whole different thing. Getting to the rim and finishing are two different things. So he had such a lead. And also, Peyton is one of only 5 players to have 5 triple doubles in a row, 5 games in a row. But he was never able to, execute at a level to make that a reality for a season or things like that. So it's a shame when you have talent like that and never gets realized to a consistent level.
It's almost like MCW. He came in that first rookie season and then off a
rookie of the year. And yeah, for sure.
And it's crazy because I kind of like Peyton to start, when he first came into the league, but then he started playing for my team and I'm like, oh no, we can't do this. He got to go.
Yeah, but I love Prototype 6'4". Peyton's father was a defensive end in the Canadian Football League. He's a huge dude. Like those big dudes at point guard and stopping that point of attack, and a lot of people, I hate Peyton. There's a reason why we were good a couple of years ago, folks. It wasn't a turnstile like there was with Kemba and Derrick Rose last year.
Or as Beverly puts it, he's a cone. We've got 227 likes. I know we've asked for a lot this live stream, but if you guys can support us a little bit more and try to get us to 250 before we log off, that would be greatly appreciated. You guys have held down all the other goals throughout the live stream, so I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, and also the replay gang, folks. If you couldn't make the live stream, we answer every comment. If and it's not just hello and everything. We go into detail. We love talking to you. We love our relationship with you. We love talking hoops. So please hit us up with those comments.
Max. Well, we got Bodega Wi-Fi. He's saying, looking forward to seeing Brunson's killer floater. I'm just looking forward to seeing his footwork in the paint, man. You saw some of the things he was able to do in the playoffs last season. He had Gobert out there looking stupid a couple times in the paint. He, his ability to post up. I think that's something that Tibbs is going to definitely be able to take advantage of and, find some open shooters in the corner when teams try to, help out. Because Brunson, he is smaller. He's a diminutive point guard, but he's solid. He can still bully you. So I'm excited to see what he'll be able to do out there, not only offensively, but not only his scoring, but also how he can work with Mitchell Robinson. We talked about Mitchell Robinson and his usage, but I think Mitchell Robinson may get more shot attempts with just doing the same thing he's been doing throughout his time here with the Knicks. Because you look at a Spider, you look at a Brunson, those are two guys that are going to be able to find him in the pick and roll, I think a lot better than some of the other point guards we had running pick and roll with him. So I expect to see a lot more. I expect to see a boost from Mitchell Robinson as well. And it won't be because of him, needing the ball more in terms of him trying to create for himself, but it'll just be off of the better point guard play or the better guard play overall that we're going to see with the Jalen Brunson and a Donovan Mitchell backcourt tandem if we go out there and acquire him.
And the one other person is the only person who found them last year was RJ. So now on top of RJ having, like you said, Brunson and Spider feeding him, with that contract, he's going to be the happiest guy. We just want to say Hail Mary, fully graced, that he stays healthy this year. But one other thing that I wanted to talk about Brunson, I think the player that he may have a profound impact on is Miles McBride. They're both 6'1". There's similarities, but in practice, just maybe Deuce learning a hezzy dribble, learning footwork, like you said so beautifully a second ago. Brunson may have a profound impact for that kid watching him because there's so much similarity. So, I'd love to see that happen.
Facts. Let's see. Oh, we got one more question before we sign off. Top Junkie says, what is your starting five opening day? I would say mine is Brunson. Well, is this with a Mitchell trade or without? Because if it's without a Mitchell trade, then it's going to be Brunson, RJ, Cam, Randall, and then Mitch. And if there is a trade, then it would be Brunson, Mitch, RJ, Randall, and then Mitch 2.0. Well, I guess Mitch the first. I call Mitchell Robinson Mitch the first. He was here first.
Yeah. Hey, we have another super chat from our friend Buzzer Beater.
Oh, yep, just Beater. He says, Steve, thanks for your honest critique on Peyton.
Thank you. And you know what?
Gotta keep it real.
We're friends after all this time. You can call me Foxy. So thank you so much, Buzzer Beater. We appreciate it.
Easy P says Deuce is a goner. I wouldn't be shocked if Deuce is included in a trade. I mean, we didn't really see enough from Deuce that would say the Knicks have to keep him. If he is a piece that the Jazz want in a deal, then he's not somebody I'm going to say no. We're not going to include him.
And also what we said, that contract that he'll be looking for, we got too much money tied up in other players. Movies and stuff. If that's my friend Janine, just wanted to give it a shout out to her and her channel Movies and Merlot. She does great reviews to so many things. Love you, Janine. Hope all is well.
So they're asking why keep Cam Reddish? Because that's an area on this team where we don't really have too many options. We don't have too many guys, like Foxy said, with the measurement that are 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan. So to have a guy like Cam that has the measurables and also has the talent and potential to be a legitimate starter in this league, then that's why I would keep Cam. But the problem is there going to be any space for him now that we have Donovan Mitchell, who's going to move RJ from the 2 and cement him as that 3?
Exactly.
Yes. All right, Foxy, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you for co-hosting with me. Greatly appreciate it. Anything you want to say before we sign off?
Just again, thank you. We're in the teens now to get into that 6,000 subscriber metric. So thank you so very much. Thank you for all your support. We have a lot of stuff back in the lab. So we're going to be seeing in the next.
We're one away from 6,000, Foxy. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Somebody hold us down.
Yeah, holy moly, we're almost there. So,
1 away in subs and we're 3 away in likes. Sorry to interrupt, Foxy. Do what you got.
Please interrupt me all the time. We're 1 away from. So if you haven't, folks, please, if in the chat. Also, one other thing, we're ending now, but in the future, if you're new, just let us know that you're new to the chat so we can give you a proper hello, shout out, and everybody could just reach out and say welcome to the SV Nation. Like I said, we have a lot of great content coming up. we put as you can see, we're always putting the numbers in and looking at stuff to try to give you takes that nobody else in the Nick fandom is giving. Shout out to everybody, but we take this really serious to really, from a journalistic standpoint, give you the best information that we possibly can. That's thought provoking, and obviously the relationship that we have, it's both ways. We learn so much from you guys. We have another super chat.
Thank you for the super chat. He says, "Best wishes, drinks on me." Thank you. I appreciate it. I could definitely use a drink after the week I've had.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna throw a bowl in there with that. I'll have a bowl and a drink on with you, Parrish.
Oh man, don't be a drink and let me get some sleep, man. I haven't slept in the last 5 days.
No,
Maybe
I
2 hours
know.
a day. Oh man, it's been rough. But thank you guys. This is definitely something that's gonna let me head into the weekend with a smile. Appreciate all the support. Hopefully these Knicks can make a decision and make a move, so at least we can have some finality behind this. We can only speculate so much. It's time for us to actually find out what this team is going to look like next season, so we can have some expectations. I don't think Vegas put the odds out yet. They're still waiting.
I don't believe
to see
so.
Yeah,
what
this team is
exactly.
going to look like. So if Vegas doesn't know what this team is going to be, so it's hard for us to figure out what this team is going to be until they make these moves. So thank you guys for tuning in and chopping up with us, talking Knicks, especially like I said, with this type of turnout, in the middle of the off season. So thank you guys for all your support here at SVTV. We want to thank you. We'll be live again, Fox. We don't have a date for our next live stream, do we yet?
But we'll do something soon, that's for sure, because we have other content coming. And just a quick shout out to Greg, who just said, "I'm your 6,000 sub. I just subscribed."
Nice.
Yo, Greg, thank you so much. Yo. You guys
boom. Not only did we pass 6,000, we passed 6,010. We're all the way at 6,012. Let's go. Thank you guys. We appreciate it.
So we're very, very blessed, man.
All right. So thank you all for everything you've done during this live stream and during the whole duration of this channel. This channel is nothing without your support. So once again, I'm Keith, host of Sports Vibes TV, joined as always by NBA analyst Stephen Fox.